Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you all so much for joining us. This is a really important series where we talk about different best practices that help us celebrate the work of our volunteer leaders. The American Red Cross is over 90% volunteer-led and driven. We cannot do this work without our strong leadership, but it takes some skills to coordinate other volunteers, share the mission of the Red Cross, why we're doing what we're doing, and how we bring other people into the fold. It cannot be done just by staff members. It does require some intentional actions from everyone that is wanting to make this mission succeed. So this Hot Topic series is all about how we bring the heat to our workforce leadership and give you all the skills necessary to be successful volunteer leaders yourselves. I'm Salva Pliviyama, your Disaster Workforce Engagement Manager for the Louisiana region. I have guest speakers with me today, Curtis and Donna. I believe we're going to be focusing on Curtis as he helps bring up how we onboard volunteers and when our onboarding team screens them, finds a good role, and hand them over to you as volunteer leaders. How does that handoff take place, and what do you do with them thereafter? But before we get into today's topic, I want to go over a few of where we're at regionally and how we're currently looking for volunteer engagement. I actually want to give a shout out to Judith Weir and actually Brenda Hewlett as well. Judith is a brand new instructor. She's been with the organization for a while, but yesterday she went and did her first instruction teaching onboarding. So it was about onboarding. Like, you know what? Let's highlight this success. She became an instructor about 1 or 2 months ago. Brenda helped teach her the instructor specialty training along with me, and then did all the Brenda herself was working with her, getting her to sign up to teach one of the classes for our onboarding academy in Cap West. Had a session to go over the technology, setting her up for expectations, and doing a teach back session before she went out to virtually instruct the onboarding academy. The local leaders, Elizabeth and Chad, met with her, talked about what they were hoping to get down out of their onboarding academy. They did end up having to change last minute because the initial time didn't meet our volunteers where they were at with the availability of time that they could serve. So together they talked about, let's do this after hours and find a way that we can meet our volunteers and make this relevant for them. How we are, we have these plans, we organize it, broadcast it, but if it doesn't meet the need, how do we change that to make sure that those volunteers are heard and we're bringing them into the fold? So huge shout out to Judith, huge shout out to Brenda for making this all come to life. And that is what being a volunteer leader is about, the support and the adaptability. This is where we're looking at currently for our workforce engagement. As you can see, we are staying above the 2/3 engagement line. 69% of our workforce has engaged in some way, shape, or form in the organization in the last 90 days. And since we did this last week with the Hot Topics, we've had 5 new volunteers just by the numbers. So excited that we're getting brand new interest. People are going into the pipeline, which is all about what we're talking about today. How do we build that pipeline? What do we do with those 5 new volunteers? Other than that, we have metrics of how we're going out into the community, serving the mission. We're about 82% to our regional goal. That is 88,562 hours that our workers have been, that our workforce has been contributing to serve the mission of the Red Cross, whether it is Blue Sky, helping us with our readiness tasks, training other volunteers, connecting with partners, showing them what they can do, or actually deploying and going out onto a disaster operation, which right now the main focus is Guam. And we get phone calls every day about mainly what leaders are available to go out and help on those operations. So, which, as we talk about, what are our major needs here in Louisiana? We are at 279 responders, are people that we've trained in holding their primary gaps into something that helps us with our national readiness target, saying that we're ready to respond to disasters. The major focus of May is around feeding. We have onboarding academies focusing on feeding, and the big event next week, Wednesday, is our feeding academy where we're teaching, yes, entry to feeding, but also if you're willing to be a feeding supervisor, we'll have a track for that, and working on getting people trained on herb drivers. But we also have a virtual disaster assessment fundamentals class tomorrow for anyone that still needs their gap. As you can see down below, we still need 7 more people to help us during times of disaster to assess damages. So while the big one is feeding, we need 11 more feeding service associates, 6 more feeding supervisors. We still have that need for additional disaster assessment volunteers. All right, so now we've seen what we're looking for. How do we get these volunteers? How do we help bring people into the fold? What are measures for success? Curtis, would you mind introducing yourself, and why are you here to talk about onboarding? You can go ahead and take over the presentation now as well.
Haha, it's my presentation now. Welcome, everyone. My name is Curtis Bartell. I think everyone on this call knows me already, so no need to do introductions. Today, we are going to be going over the onboarding process, but from a different perspective. We're going to be looking at what the onboarding process looks like from a supervisor's point of view. We've been definitely, God, what would I say, redoing the onboarding program for quite a while now. And we've gotten into a really good place, especially with our onboarding team itself. We're getting those volunteers into the door. We're making sure that on our end that they are not falling through the cracks, that they are all getting introduced to their supervisors. But I want to make sure that we're all on the same page about what happens during that 90 days that the new volunteer will be onboarding, what things are going to be covered by the DCS onboarding team, and then what things are going to be the responsibility of the supervisors during this onboarding process. So unless we have Donna on, I can't see, is she on? No, Dawn. All right, then I am going to give this presentation with glee. 1 sec. Sync to presenter. No, whatever. I'm presenting. All right, so guys, yeah, like I said, this is going to be an overview for the supervisors and what that process looks like during onboarding.
I think Sava's going to have to unshare his screen. We're still looking at NRT goals.
Oh, here, let me do it. Now solve. Are we good? Synced?
Don't use sync, use the take control.
Ooh, where is take control?
Should be at the top there.
I don't have a take control button. I would love to have that button. Sync to presenter, navigate forward. Let me see if I do the sync to presenter. If it got, no, that did not do what I wanted it to. Change view.
I'll stop sharing and then you can share your slides directly.
You want to do it that way?
Yes.
Okay. All right, gang, moment of truth. All right, I do want to show that actually a little bit as well. All right, now are we in business?
Yes.
Yay, okay. Slideshow. Okay, so for anyone that is on this call that is a supervisor, and I know there's going to be definitely a handful of you that are supervisors, please do take notes on this because this is something that we are, trying to reintroduce. And so I would love to get your guys' feedback on the things you like, things you don't like, things you have more questions about. So just keep that in mind while I'm going through this presentation. So the very first slide, when we're doing onboarding, the onboarding team takes care of a number of steps. I stole this slide from Sava. But basically what all this says, when it says relationship and action, those are basically the things that we actually do as onboarders with the volunteers. And so, it says right here, connect with volunteers and introduce them to their supervisors. That's what I do during that onboarding initial interview. And then when I send that email out, that I always make sure to CC the supervisors in. When I CC you guys into that welcome to the Red Cross email, make sure to reach out to the volunteers. That email is going to be the sign that you have a new volunteer. Now, if you guys would like, I can do something in addition to sending out the welcome email. If you think it would be helpful, I could also send you guys just an individual text that says, hey, you just got a welcome email, you just got a new volunteer. If that would help you guys, let me know. I have no problem doing that. But as of now, the way to notify you that you have a new volunteer is in that welcome to the Red Cross email, where we send an email to the volunteer and we CC you in it and mention you as well as the supervisor. And in that email, ask you to reach out to introduce yourselves. And then, of course, as the very first people to onboard, we're the first friends. We are that first impression with the volunteers. That if they haven't done placement, if they've gone through toy is their first impression. But oftentimes we, as the onboarders, are the first impression. But then you guys, the supervisors, right after that, you're the next impression. You guys are still these first impressions. So that impression that the supervisor makes during their introduction still plays a huge role in that initial volunteer experience that kind of sets up their experience for down the road. All right, for monitoring, oh, shoot. 1 sec. All right, sorry guys. So for monitoring training, the onboarding team, what we're going to do is we're not necessarily in charge of their trainings, but we're going to be monitoring their trainings, especially once I have my onboarding volunteers all in the mix as well. Then we'll be even better about checking on those 1, 2, 3 month benchmarks. But throughout their training, we will be checking in on those volunteers just to see how their training's going, if they're having any issues. So although the training is going to be in the supervisor's world, we on the onboarding team will still be checking in to make sure that everything's going smoothly. And then, like I said, that monitor training progress monthly, it's going to be 90 days. So after the first weeks, we're going to start checking in monthly. So we'll check in on the first month, on the second month, and then on that third month, just to see how they're doing. And then, yeah, another thing in our wheelhouse, oh my gosh, I just love to click. Another thing in our wheelhouse is going to be the orientations, the DCS orientation and getting connected. So you supervisors do not have to worry about that. That's something that we're doing as the onboarding team. And then also it's something that I know placement is mentioning as well. So we have support on that. If we do have people that are not getting connected with the DCS orientation and stuff like that, and you know about it, please do let us know. It's not your responsibility to do those orientations, but if you hear that something isn't going to plan, let us know. We'll make sure to get it fixed. And then we do some very preliminary volunteer connection introduction stuff, especially with those orientations. And remember this, supervisors, we do not submit the access and request for job tools and systems. That's going to be on the supervisors. All right, now let's look a little bit more in depth about what those supervisor responsibilities look like on the onboarding process. So we're going back to our little relationship in action. So these are the things, the action items that you would actually do with the volunteers as a supervisor. So the big thing is you want to introduce your volunteers to the team that they're joining. You already have your team, you know those volunteers. It's on you to make sure that that new volunteer gets connected with your team and feels like they're part of the team. Also, you guys are going to be doing things like providing mentoring opportunities, shadowing. Depending on what the role is, the shadow shifts will look different, but it is on the supervisors to start getting those volunteers involved right away. They don't have to wait until their training's done to start volunteering. They can help right through the door. All right, and then with the monitors, so like I said, the onboarding team is really going to be monitoring the completion of those trainings, but that doesn't mean that the supervisors don't have to stay on top of stuff as well. They can identify other trainings, other things that could promote growth. And then also whenever there's any, geographic based or virtual opportunities for like workshops or exercises, make sure that those new volunteers are being included and they are being invited to these events. Because like I said, we don't want them to fall through the cracks, especially in this first 3 months when it's their first impression. We want to make sure that the volunteers know that we know about them, that we value them, and that we're engaging them. All right, and then also job inductions. So that's definitely a thing that is going to be on the supervisor's court. That's because the supervisor knows all of the specific details with the job and the role that they're specifically doing. Some examples that are listed here, though, is leadership info, how you would sign up for shifts depending on the role. We have different sign up methods for shifts. And then, of course, specifics for that role, work time, other expectations like that. That's on the supervisor to make sure they communicate that to the volunteer. And usually you can do that in the induction. All right, and then the big one for you supervisors as well, tools to succeed. It is on the supervisors to submit those application requests, and it's also on the supervisors to apply for access for things like RC Respond, RC Care, emails, all that stuff. One sec, this is a Sava slide, and I like it. I'm not talking smack. I just got, there we go. Oh, okay, perfect. So the 3 parts of onboarding. So I kind of briefly gone over the orientation. And now we're also going to discuss training and then that team integration as well. I do want to fix some things eventually down the road. I'm going to change the slide a little bit, but I can't get rid of it because I love this part right here. I think this is the most important part where it says no definitive order. All of these 3 components of onboarding, they can happen at the same time. And we want them to happen at the same time because we want to make sure that those volunteers aren't getting left in the cracks and that they are getting engaged right out of the door. So let's take a look at I'm not going to do a lot about the orientation because I've already kind of gone over that, but just so you guys are aware, we do a broad overview of DCS and how our different programs relate. We go into some of those specifics like the chapter maps, the DRA maps. We do a little bit of leadership in Louisiana. We describe gray skies, blue skies, and then also other things like what kind of communications they should be expecting from us. We do that initial tour of volunteer connection. And then, yeah, we can help them register with anything else as well that they need specific to their program. Oh, all right. So trainings. So guys, this is a big one for the supervisors. I even put it up here. Supervisors' responsibility. So it is on those supervisors to provide the required NHQ trainings. When I send that welcome email that you are always CC'd in that email, we include the required trainings for the position, and then we even CC the required trainings as an attachment to there as well. So if you're curious about what those required trainings are and you don't know off the top of your head, click on that link and you will see exactly what those trainings are that your volunteer needs to complete for their position. All right. And then also activity leads, aka supervisors, they're also going to be in charge of finding out the best methods for training. So yeah, we could do just web-based trainings, you could do academies, you could also do reactive scheduling. So there's a lot of options for methods for training, but that's going to be on you guys, the actual trainers, to do that. And then, like I had mentioned previously, we as the onboarding team are going to check after 1 week, and then we're going to do monthly, first month, second month, and third month, just to see how those trainings are coming along with your volunteers. Team integration. This one is super important for supervisors as well. I mean, I would say the trainings and the team integration are 2 of the biggest things or components for supervisors when we're doing the onboarding process for these new volunteers. And like I said, here in caps, this is something that we can't do as the onboarding team. You guys are the supervisors of your teams. You know your teams, you work with your teams, you engage your teams. So it's going to be on you to make sure that that new volunteer is included in all the activities and other opportunities with the team that they're joining. So it really is on you as a supervisor to take that new volunteer and to make them feel welcome into the new team that they're going to be working with. And yeah, so as the onboarding team, we can help set some expectations about what's to come for the volunteer, but it really is going to be on you guys to make sure that those things are happening, that they are getting invited to events, that they are made aware of, of new trainings. And then I guess lastly, so like I said, there would be things like meeting invites, job induction, assigning a mentor buddy, shadowing, supporting initial registrations. These are all important components of team integration. Next steps. All right. So we got systems access. Remember, that's what it's going to be on the supervisors. You guys are the ones that are going to be applying for that systems access. Promotions. So also it is on you guys to let us know when that volunteer has completed all their trainings. Let us know, and we will promote them from a trainee to a team member for whatever their role is. And then also remember, they got 90 days to do these trainings. So usually 90 days is plenty of time. And we can make some accommodations in case they can't get through the 90 days. But usually 90 days is a good indication of whether or not they're going to be able to complete their trainings and actually join our organization. I'm not going to go too in depth on this slide. I think it is important for you guys to see, though, with the systems access and the different methods for accessing this. If you guys would like, I I could send this to all supervisors just so that they're aware, if you guys aren't already aware, how to get all these different system accesses. Let me know and I can share this slide after the meeting. But I just want to make sure it's clear that it is on the supervisors to get their volunteers systems access. All right, and then yeah, the 90-day termination, the only thing I want to mention about this is that there are exceptions. So if somebody is having, a medical emergency, a family issue, or maybe they're just in school and things are taking a little bit longer, if that's the issue, we can give them an extension. However, the vast majority of people that haven't completed their trainings by 90 days, that's usually a good indication that they're probably not going to be volunteering with us. So yeah, I want you guys to all be aware of that 90 days. And within that 90 days, like I said earlier, if the volunteer, if you notice that they do complete all their trainings, let us know and we'll make sure to go in there. Or I guess actually, I'm sorry, and Saba, let me know if I misspoke. The supervisors are actually the ones that can update, promote their volunteers. It's something that we can do as an onboarding team, but I think, and I want to get Saba's feedback on this, I think it is on the supervisors to go into volunteer connection and update their position from trainee to team member.
Yeah, so supervisors do own the roster of their teams, including those once we assign them to them, promoting them. Just historically, because we're already in there, we have helped with that first step of getting them their first service associate gap, and then since we're giving them the gap, we have been promoting them from trainee to team member. Uh, so we are always willing to help and be there. But the onus of maintaining the accurate roster, who is your actual team members, who have you promote to team leaders, that's something that you can do as your team.
Cool. Thank you, Saba. Yeah, these are just some considerations for those first introductions. These are kind of guidelines that we like supervisors to consider or to go by. So make sure that, well, I guess this is something that we would do as well as onboarders, but stay in touch with those volunteers between the referral and the completion of those trainings. That's something that you as supervisors are 100% going to be doing as well, because we want those volunteers engaged right away, not just when their trainings are completed. For the supervisor, it's important that you do say that first hello within 48 hours. I think we have a little differences. I see some that say 72. This one says 48, but that's something I'll work on. What's important to know is that when you get that welcome email of the new volunteer and you're notified that you do have a new volunteer, reach out to them right away. We don't want there to be a big gap or lag. We want those volunteers to find out who their supervisor is and then to have their supervisor reach out to them when it's still fresh. I do want to send one. Ooh, I didn't notice these little blurby things. So these ones are actually new for me too. Oh, no, this isn't. So the checklist queue, this is a big one, guys. So the checklist queue, this lives on the onboarding teams channel. This could make your guys' life so much easier, supervisors. And I'm not sure how much of you are utilizing these tools right now, but we do have an easy onboarding checklist queue. I'm going to stop, or no, I'm going to minimize this for a sec. There we go. You guys can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So on our onboarding teams channel, we have these awesome resources. They're the training plans for each position. So let's use a simple, what is this one? That. We're going to do that as a sample. So in this document, you'll see all the things that you need to go by step with system access, trainings, all the things that you need to do for your new volunteer to complete their trainings are on these little templates. And see, it has all the trainings right here. I'm sorry if I'm scrolling through these really quickly, but I do want you guys to be able to utilize these. If you're not using these already and you are interested, let me know. Because yeah, it really makes life so much easier when you have a bunch of volunteers and you don't know exactly what stage they are with their trainings. You can literally just go through this checklist and it'll help you stay organized when onboarding. All right. My last sign, let's see. I'm going to share this one. I have to see this one says 72 hours, but that's not. It's 48, 72 hours. You guys want to do it ASAP. I'm going to do here. Okay. So yeah, say hello as soon as possible with your new volunteers. We don't want them to just fall in the cracks. That has happened historically, but that's not happening anymore. Also, like I said, make sure you invite them to any local events, meetings, any of that stuff. Make sure to get them that system access, and then we're going to promote them from trainee to team member. And then also speak with us often and speak with your onboarding team. If you have questions, if you need help, if you want more resources, like those training plans, we have them. So we have a lot of stuff and resources for you guys to use. So if you're kind of confused about what you need to do with your next steps, please don't hesitate. Reach out to us. It's what we're here for. I wanted to see. No, we're not gonna do this. It's okay. Right now, basically, I'm gonna stop sharing, but I did want to see if you guys have any questions. I know we only have 4 minutes left to this presentation, but I wanted to see, like, if you guys kind of have a better idea or a reinforced idea of what it means to be a supervisor during the onboarding process. And also, Ed, I wanted to see if we could talk about this in our in-person, if I could like have a little bit more time to go into this when we have everyone from DCS under one roof. Then they have to listen to me.
No, absolutely. Curtis, I just want to say that there's really there's a few key things in DCS that if we, we're still recording. I shouldn't have put my camera on, but oh well. There's a few fundamental things in DCS that if we get it right, the payback in return is significant. We know that if we onboard people the right way, which is with enthusiasm and interest and timely, and we get them excited and we reach out to them quickly and we don't let them wander off and we don't let them get bored. And then when Curtis and the onboarding team passes them on to their next level, whether it's a functional program manager and a DPX and those folks who are now downstream, if we do a really good job at grabbing those people and welcoming them and bringing them in and getting them connected to the mission and asking about their training, but at the same time getting them some stuff to do, if we do that well, our volunteers stick around because we don't have a retention issue, or we don't have a recruiting issue. We have a retention issue. We got to keep the people that we have that have raised their hand and said that they want to be part of this organization. So, Curtis, I really appreciate how you presented it. I appreciate the enthusiasm that you bring to it. It's one thing to just go through slides, but it's another thing to kind of say, hey guys, this is really important. And everybody on this call, you can take some of this with you. So yeah, let's do a good job. Let's do a good job of bringing people on the team and taking care of them. Appreciate you, Curtis.
Yeah, my pleasure. And maybe I'll send out this presentation to everyone as well afterwards, if you guys would like. And then, yeah, hopefully on Wednesday, I could just bring up, maybe on Wednesday on our next in-person, I could bring this up a little bit and just go in a little bit more depth.
So we do have some calls to action, just relevant to what Curtis was just talking about. If you are a supervisor, reach out to those trainees and invite them to the next upcoming onboarding academy, even if it's not necessarily their interest. If you have a brand new recovery volunteer in your area, it still could be helpful to invite them to the onboarding academy that talks about DAT, that talks about mass care. Because at the end of the day, we are one Red Cross, and it's a way for them to meet one another as well. It helps that team integration realize that there's more than just what they signed up to do. They can get involved with all these different things, and a little bit extra knowledge goes a long way. Meet and greet those new trainees. See how you can get out to them. Play a game, give shout outs of past work, share a meal with them, just any way to gather together where you are making a direct contact with those new volunteers. Really helps with that social aspect and feels like a sense of belonging, makes them want to get involved more. And then I also encourage, please nominate a win from the field. What are you seeing? What are some great opportunities of being what a leadership means to you that you would like us to shout out here? We just had our engagement meetings with North, Sela, and Acadiana. And Acadiana had a few major things that we got, since it was just us, we got really down into the gritty details. So I'm going to be reaching out to Chad later about giving some recognition for some of the great leadership that's happening in the Acadiana area that I would like to share with you all. Next week's topic is about volunteer connection. It is a beast. It is our major hub of information and how we directly engage with our volunteers. So it's really important for our volunteer leaders to know how to navigate it and use it as a tool to support everything that you're doing. So join us next week as we go over the technical tools that are in your toolkit to support your leadership. Thank you for joining this week. Thank you, Curtis, for talking about onboarding, such a huge, important first step for so many of our volunteers. Again, I'm Sava, your disaster workforce engagement manager, and I hope to see you next week, next Friday. Take care, everybody.
Thank you all. Have a good weekend.